The day has finally come. I've owned the Rush SR for almost 2 years now. We just finished the season, and at the end of the season, the championship races, the motor kind of went, meh, I don't want to play anymore. So that has motivated me to finally do the Hayabusa swap. I picked up this bad boy a year ago and still haven't put it in the car. This one's a little bit special. Why? Because of this gigantic thing right here, a supercharger. That's right, I'm not just putting a Hayabusa in the Rush, I'm putting a supercharged Hayabusa in the Rush. So we're just gonna take it from 6 to midnight like it's nobody's business. Let's get after it. When I bought this Hayabusa, the guy told me he had a bunch of work done to it, but he didn't really know what. He wasn't the one that did the build. He showed me some pictures, and it looked like a whole lot of really good quality parts went into it. But now that we've got the body off the Busa, I can see that a ton of money went into this bike. It's got a water to air cooler, blow off valve, all that good stuff on the supercharger. It's not just a supercharger stuck onto a stock motor. All the internals are forged, the transmission is bad built, and it's got all of the computer stuff to make it work, you know? So this is a hell of a deal, getting it all done in one shot. If I would have gone to a bike shop and been like, yo, build me a supercharged motor, then they're like, yo, give me 50 grand. This is awesome. Good discovery. A little update, we got the rat's nest out of the bike. It's stripped down pretty good. We're almost ready to pull the motor out of it. If anybody is looking for a early first gen Busa, I'll make you a hell of a deal on a chassis. Custom paint. If you're not a fan of Spider-Man, as in you like his villain enemies, there are Green Goblin airbrushing all over it from every generation of the Green Goblin lifetime. So hit me up if you need some parts for a Busa. They'll be on the market very soon, but this is going along pretty quick. Can't wait to get this into the car. Sometimes you gotta do things a little bit ghetto. We got the motor out, got this thing ready to go. We're gonna run down to Harbor Freight and get us a Predator motor real quick, throw it in there, and there's gonna be a real cheap Busa for sale on Marketplace. Just y'all watch. Ready to ride, man. So there's our supercharged Busa motor. There's our itty bitty little GSXS motor. 1000 cc's, 1300 cc's. Naturally aspirated, supercharged. What's the big difference, you say? Well, this is a 140-ish horsepower motor. This is a 300 horsepower motor. Why does that supercharger make so much more power than the naturally aspirated motor? It's only 300 cc difference. Well, let me tell you. So you take the Ziskin and Noosh and you rotate it around the Dushin and Noosh, and that compresses it to give you more power. That kind of reminds me of the owl from the old Tootsie Roll commercials. Huh? A little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Maybe some glasses. Yeah, some happy little glasses. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. 3 licks. Now it's time for us to tear apart the Rush. We got to get the old motor out of there and then start coming up with a plan for how we're going to stuff this gigantic Busa into this car. There we go, lickety split. We got the motor out of the car. Now it's time to size this thing up next to the Busa and see how big of a difference it actually is. Here we have a 2019 GSXS 1000 motor, and here we have a 2000 1300 cc Hayabusa motor. From the back, yeah, obviously this one looks a little bit wider. Height-wise, because the oil pan in the GSXS is so low, the GSXS motor is actually a skosh taller than the Hayabusa, but width-wise, it's really not a massive difference. However, when you come around to this side, comparing the naturally aspirated GSXS and the supercharged Hayabusa thingy, that is a huge chunk of hardware right here that obviously did not have to deal with on the GSXS. So motor-wise, not a gigantic difference. The motor mounts wouldn't be the same, but still it would fit in the cradle just fine. This is gonna be the hurdle to overcome. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it yet. We're just gonna drag it in there and see what happens. Noah, you think we got this?
I think we can do it.
Confidence, I like it. All right, point it towards the hole.
You can see on that side.
Not looking good for the home team on this side, I can tell you that. There is some clearance issues when you go to put a Hayabusa in a rush car that was meant to run a GSXS motor. As you can see, that is, that's not gonna fit. That's not gonna fit. No, that's not gonna fit. And that's not gonna fit. Let's see, Supercharger would need exhaust on it too. So yeah, not at all is any of this just gonna fit drop in. That means we're gonna have to do some chippy choppy on the chassis, which I was already totally expecting to do. I wanna build a removable cradle in the car so that you can hot swap from a Hayabusa to a GSXS with just removing a few bolts in the chassis. However, it's going to be quite an engineering feat to make this happen. Join us on a journey to the point of no return. That motor doesn't even come close to fitting inside of this chassis, so that means what? We're about to chippy chop on this bad boy. Once I chop, we can't stop. We're gonna make this motor fit. Connected here. Oh, this is connected to the floor.
Oh, yes.
Delete that video. All right, moment of truth.
Let's go. Oh, zip tie.
This race car is held together by zip ties and dreams, baby. Woo! All right, the moment of truth again.
Oh, yeah, it's out.
Bye-bye.
Oh, she'll fit now.
Oh, it's totally gonna fit right in there, man. Round one, chippy choppy, no win. We gotta give it some more. We chopped up a whole bunch of the chassis already. As you can see, we removed the upper tubes, the cross tubes, the secondary roll hoop, and we are still running out of space. As you can see, this motor, because of the supercharger, is just a longer setup. So we're gonna remove this crossbar that the adjusters for the diff attach to, and we're gonna move it up and back. So it'll also strengthen our coilover mounts. Totes out of the way.
Dropper.
Honestly, you could probably just mount these to the back bar. Make the adjustments there.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah. Discovery. That is a big old chunk out of the way. I don't know if we're gonna clear the end of the transmission, but I think once this thing drops down in there, you know, that'll move forward some. We'll see. All right, ready?
Yep.
See what we're working with. Well, buddy, there we go. There's a Hayabusa engine in the back of the Rush SR. We got a lot of stuff to redo, you know, build up some bars, a little Husker do's, Husker don'ts, but for the most part, it's in there. We're gonna make some adjustments once we get the chassis kind of re-braced. So we're gonna build out this area to give us a little bit more space for the supercharged motor. And then once we've got that all welded back into place, we'll do the bottom and make some more room on the bottom. But for now, if it fits, it sits. Way to go, Noah. We got a bar in there. That's our upper part. So we got half of the chassis, I guess you could say, put back into the car. It's just a big U now that gives us tons of room to get the motor in and out of there. Didn't do the removable cradle thing because it's just so big. If you have a hard time getting a smaller motor out of a bigger hole, then you're probably used to some bigger problems like a hot dog in a hallway or something. But anyways, we're on the first step. Now we can get into the bottom side of this thing and start chopping that up, widening everything up, and really seeing how deep we can get this motor plopped down in there. There's a Hayabusa in that there race car. We got good clearance, the header's clear, transmission's clear, pan clears. This thing's gonna fit. No, we got this bad boy in there. A little chopping, we made a new U-bar up top, we made bars underneath, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We'll add some bracing in later on after we get this thing all mounted in there, but man, this is coming along pretty good. Tomorrow we'll probably build some engine mounts and see if we get this thing to hold in place. Originally from the factory, Rush was using removable motor mounts on the front, bolting into the head of the motor, and then they had two permanent ones welded onto the chassis in the top and the bottom and the rear of the motor into the transmission. We're going to replicate that same idea, but we can't reuse the ones that came off the GSXS because they are way smaller. The Busa is just bigger. So today, we are making motor mounts. Up here, we got our bolt kind of wrapped around, something like that. And then it'll need to go down in that other bolt hole, and then need to come up to our angle. So it'll be, you know, kind of probably something like this, through the edge, and then it'll kind of over to this, and then we gotta, you know, bring it around. I'm not sure, is it that one or is it might be there? And then we gotta drill a hole. Gotta drill a hole for the bolt to go in, you know.
Looks good to me.
Looks good to me, right?
Yeah.
Let's make it. Well, that's a good amount of weight savings right there. Yes, sir, that is some true fabrication right there. Way to go, Noah. There we go, motor mount, motor mount, motor mounts. It's all there. Now we're just gonna yank the motor out of there, get some good welds on this thing so it doesn't fall apart while we're going down the track, and we got a Hayabusa in there. The motor came back out of there just as easy as it went in. Not gonna lie, with the chassis changes and the engine mounts, I wasn't 100% sure if we were ever gonna get that motor back out of there. Well, came out just fine, and it's official. We are the first Busa swapped Rush. We're gonna do some changes to the fuel system, get this thing wired up, do a little bit more bracing and get it pretty in there, and then bam, we are back out on the track with twice as much power. up a bunch of stuff on the chassis today. We got uprights between the U's, and we installed 2 fuel cell mounts. Prior to this, we were running a single 5-gallon ATL fuel cell. It barely made it through 30 minutes driving hard. With the GSXS motor, it probably didn't use near as much fuel as the Busa motor running a supercharger. So 2 tanks, 10 gallons. We're sticking with the ATL cell because holy crap, if I wanted to put custom side pod cells in this thing, expensive. ATL, fuel safe, if you guys want to sponsor me, I would love to put some of your fine equipment into this automobile. But until then, we're going to run the factory style ones that Rush uses because they're affordable. And that's where this whole car started from, being an affordable performance platform. And now we're going to double the performance by putting twice as much horsepower in it and half as much driving skill. Let's have some fun. What are we talking about under here, bud?
So we got our original Hayabusa header going into a 2.5-inch collector, back into our 2-inch original piping, mid-pipe. It's time to tack it in and see if we could weld this baby.
I'm exhausted just listening to him talk about it.
Why is that so poopy?
Is the gas on?
No.
Rook! Why is this welding so weird? I don't know, maybe because the inert gas that's supposed to make the process work isn't on? So first time TIGging stainless exhaust, and looks like 2 pieces are now 1.
Yeah, it went pretty well. This piece gave me a little trouble because it's thinner, but I was able to get it done. Pretty happy. Now let's see if it fits.
That's the big question. After welding it, is it completely different shape than it was before? Probably not. Well, there you go. A bunch of exhausting work, and this thing's almost ready. It's starting to look like less of a pile of trash, and there's a little bit of organization going on. What kind of challenges have you ran into with this whole Suzuki business?
There's a lot of stuff that the ECM likes to see fed back off the switches instead of us just being able to feed. The ECM requires a lot of information to know that certain circuits are satisfied just to make it happy. So, you know, that explains it and simplifies it right there quite a bit, right?
Well, it's a Japanese bike, and this is clearly Japanese, right? Okay, yeah, that's what it looks like to me anyway.
So we mounted our starter solenoid over here, so everything that I've got in my hand is gonna run back over and tie into it and the battery. Still gotta run the brake lights and everything, which that's pretty simple. It's all right there.
He says it's pretty simple, yeah. It's a race car. Nothing simple about a race car, especially when you don't have any directions on how to put that crap together, so.
Well, the driver's pretty simple.
The driver is very simple. If only he could drive any good, right? Let's get back to it. Dusty was complaining that he couldn't read the wiring schematic for the race car, so I printed him out a new one. I hope he can see this. Dusty, think you can see the wiring schematic now?
Maybe. I love it. I'm gonna need a bigger table.
He was working with that.
Yeah, I think I can see it now. I can definitely see what the damn letters are. Yeah, that'll work.
The Busa swap is done, but this is a supercharged motor, so that means we need to make all these contraptions work to make the supercharger work at optimal levels. This is an air-to-air intercooler. That means it needs air to flow through it to cool the charge air going into the motor. Noah is building this sweet intake, as you can see, that's gonna suck all that air into there. Well, it's not really gonna suck, it's just gonna absorb the air that's naturally flowing through the car and then excavate it out to there. Excavate it.
Close enough.
I don't think excavated is the word I'm looking for, but whatever. It's gonna take the air, blow it through there, cool some stuff off, and then it's gonna go out there, and it's gonna make this thing go fast. All right. Man, it doesn't look like much. It's hard to tell without the body on there, but all these crazy curves and stuff seal up against the body so that the air is forced through the intercooler. I'd say you did a killer job. It looks great. All right, so we got the motor back out while we're fixing all the plumbing on it and everything, and our intake tube doesn't really work, and I don't want to put silicone little elbow thingies on it, so we're gonna weld on a 90. But it's covered in powder coating, so instead of flappy disking it or sandblasting it, we're gonna dip it in a B17 tank in like 5 seconds, take this bad stuff off. Just you wait. That came out pretty nice. I'd say starting this motor is probably just around the bend. Noah and I have been kind of test fitting the body and making sure everything fits over the new motor and the intercooler and all that jazz, and that brought up a point. The aerodynamics on this car, I never really dug them, and the wing that was part of the spec series has this huge lip in the back, tons of drag. When you get going down the straightaway, it kills top speeds. I know for a fact because I took the wing off and I gained 10 miles per hour on the back straight at Road Atlanta. Insane amount of gain by getting rid of this wing. However, the car was completely unstable in the turns, so it needs a wing. But I don't feel like spending $2,500 on a new carbon fiber wing right now. No, what are we gonna do?
Cut it.
Chop shop race car, let's do it. There we go, Noah out here getting it right. Primer's done, blocking it out. What do you think?
She's ready for paint.
Speaking of paint, time to let the cat out of the bag. Check out what just got back from Candy Coated Custom. Green! Whoa, that is bright! That's right, we are doing a black and slime green paint scheme on the car, just like old Patapalooza would have done it back in the day. Wow! Black and green, Taco Viking approved. As I've said in the past, the aerodynamics in the car leaves something to be desired. Here, off of the front wheel, there's a ton of drag and a big old parachute. When the air gets going around the wheel and everything, it just gets stuffed into the body and stuck inside of here. There's a little bit of a vent, but that don't do squat. So we are gonna cut off all of this and make a nice sleek line for all that stuff to escape. Aerodynamic.
Should be chopped.
Sweet goggles, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
What's this junk? Garbage. All right, so we got this big chunk cut out of the car. Now we're gonna get into designing that inner panel. Noah taught me through it.
So we're gonna do some CAD, some cardboard aided design. Try to make a flat sheet that covers right around the battery and over this this pipe right there, and then we're gonna cut it out in aluminum, start to bend everything, rivet it all in, see how it goes.
See how it all goes. I like your style. Let's do it. All right, so Noah got his cardboard artist skills out here and did some sweet CAD work to get this design in here. This is a rough idea of what's actually going to be happening. So now, instead of the air getting stuck inside of the body, the air gets deflected off of the tire and out into the rest of the aerodynamics and away from the car.
So now I'm going to take this, cut it out in aluminum, have a much more rigid surface to actually start to work off of. Get the back of this all aligned, bolt it in, start to peel it over, get all the rough shapes in with the burr tool, and then bing, bong, boom, we got it.
Bing, bong, boom, we got it. You heard it. It's just that easy, folks. Go ahead and do it yourself at home. Let's check in on Noah and see how he's faring.
We got this aluminum piece all mocked up, bolted into the back. As you can see, it's almost in the rough shape that we need, so now it's time to take the air tools, cut it out, hammer these edges over, and I think we're good.
Looks pretty slick. Noah got the part all banged out, but now it's time to get this thing into paint. We got a crazy paint scheme for this where every single thing that we changed about the car is gonna get a really bright color so everybody knows what we did to this thing. It's gonna be cool. Dang, have a gander at all that deflection.
Yeah, this will do a lot better job at evacuating all the air from the wheel well instead of acting like a parachute into the body. I think this will do a lot better job.
And it's green.
And it's green.
All right, here's the full rundown on this bad boy. So it's a supercharged setup. There's the cool intercooler with the scoopy scoop that Noah made on it. Over here, we got our oiling system for the supercharger. All of our wiring, all of our lines, we wrapped it in this cool Mylar sheathing to protect everything. Cooling system's in. We've got Motul fluids packed into this bad boy. Nothing but the best, that delicious flavor. Over here on this side of the motor, you can see the supercharger packed down inside of there. That's a TTS supercharger from Rotrex. They're a company out of the UK that makes superchargers specifically for the Hayabusa and other random motorcycles, but of course it's gonna work fantastic in a car. The charge pipe comes up here, stuffs that crap down into the motor and gives us some poundage of boost. How much? I don't really know. We got 2 tanks on this baby now, so we ought to be able to make it at least halfway around the track before it runs out of gas. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Will this thing actually work? We never fired this thing up as a motorcycle, so we never even tested it beforehand. I don't know if anything works in it. It's time to find out. That's a little oil. That's a little exhaust wrap. I'm getting hints of old dirt and dust.
Asbestos.
Yeah, she's smoking a little. It's fine. It's totally normal. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. It runs, but let's see if the shifter works on. We had a bit of an issue with the shifter. It only had 32 millimeters of throw. I could set it up so that it could shift one direction, but it wouldn't have enough throw to pull it back the other. So I drilled a hole closer to the shaft. That way, when the arm moves, it's actually doing more travel on the shaft. It has less leverage, but I think it still has plenty of strength to move everything. Good to go. We got the cars put back together as we're gonna get it for testing. So we're gonna drop this thing off of the quick jacks, take for a little spin around my lot here and see if it actually works, and then we're gonna load it in the trailer and take it up to the firm. We're gonna give it a little bit of a heat cycle here to burn off some of that goodies from all the work we did. This will be my first time getting the car moving with the new hydraulic clutch. How many times do you guys think I'm gonna kill this thing before I actually get it to move? I'm guessing 5.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, totally thought I had it.
That was close.
Alright, try again.
Oh,
Dude, that clutch is like such little space to move. It's like,
yeah.
And it's gone. Successful test. Drove it down the driveway, no problems. It even went back into neutral when I got here. So, you know, I only killed it twice too. That was way under my mark. Let's go to the track. Let's go. I'm up at the firm with the race car, and the look of bewilderment on everybody's faces is quite apparent. What is this monstrosity? Well, it's time to find out if this thing actually works. Clutch is fucked up. Yep. As soon as I tried to take off in this baby, I pushed the clutch in and felt a pop. Didn't know what it was, just took a look. The entire slave cover just snapped. That's something I haven't seen before. I don't know that I can run to AutoZone and get a slave cover for a Hayabusa motor, but testing might be done early. It is dark 30 at the firm, and what a day it has been. Thank you to my awesome wife who drove hours to go pick up a sprocket cover for me, and then I did a 5-hour round trip shot to go pick it up from her. We're gonna get this thing changed out tonight because I'm not giving up on the car. We got the track for another day, and we are gonna hit it the second the sun comes up. Well, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So this was a Gen 2 sprocket cover. It's the only thing I could find. This is a Gen 1 motor. It means it didn't go on there exactly perfect, but I think it'll be good enough to get testing done. I've got a badass billet one on the way, but of course it wouldn't be here in time to do any testing while we're up here. So we're gonna give it a shot. This is the sprocket cover that came off of the motor. It cracked all across the top, the bottom half broke off, but I can't actually blame this part. From Rush, this shifter arm is normally pointing straight up. When I first put the Busa in, I tried to replicate that and it hit that little cover. So I cut out a chunk of it in order to let the arm go in there. Then I found out that that shift angle doesn't work for it, so I put it down low like this. This is the cut that I made out in order to let that shifter arm go up, and it didn't work for me. So I switched it around down, and this cut was no longer necessary. However, it obviously weakened the cover because it just snapped all over the place. At the end of the day, I can't blame the clutch cover. I can't blame the slave cylinder. It was entirely my fault. I cut that cover thinking that I needed that space, didn't, and it totally weakened it. And that's why it failed. Now I'm gonna get a billet one in there that could take all kinds of badass pressure, but for now we're hoping this Gen 2 one will survive for one day of testing. It's light out, but the sun obviously hasn't had its cup of tea yet this morning because it hasn't popped over the hill. I've already got the car unloaded. I'm gonna go ahead and get suited up, warm the car up because I need to get out on the track and get some testing done. Just got done with the first session with the car. Not bad, warmed it up. It was more of a break-in than anything. However, I discovered we're still having shifter issues. I didn't really give it the beans. I only went about quarter throttle in fourth gear, maybe 6,000 or 7,000 RPM. So not a whole lot of input, but it's already an absolute monster. I haven't broke it in. It's gonna get a lot more intense, but first we gotta fix this shifter issue. The actuator isn't moving at all. Oh boy. Oh, hey there, little feller. You're probably supposed to go through a hole and have a nut on the other side. Looks like the nut on the actuator arm did not get tightened and fell off. So the whole arm itself is just flapping in the breeze. That ain't moving nothing but air. Small victory though. The sprocket cover worked just great. Shifter's fixed, let's go for another cruise. Call that a successful test. The shifting's still a little meh. We're gonna talk to the actuator company and see if we can't get something a little bit stronger with slightly more throw so that the shifts are more crisp and solid. I'm not able to do a fast downshift right now, which I really need to be able to do. The boost on this thing is incredible, but it feels like I'm getting a little bit of fuel starvation. So I'm gonna turn up the PSI on it a little bit and hopefully that solves it. Pretty soon we'll get this thing off to the dyno, get it nice and tuned up. We also got a bigger set of injectors so we can crank up the horsepower if we want to. Right now, I think it's around 250 horsepower, but I don't really know. With the other injectors, it should be at least 300 horsepower. We're gonna start off with the baby steps though and see where that gets us. I need to get some custom decals made for the race car, so I'm going to visit my buddies at Redline Design. The gang over at Redline Design came up with this sweet design for the Crusher. Do you approve of the design? Approved. It says Crusher, but it's also got Rush SR in it, so everybody will know that it's still a Rush, but obviously it being a supercharged monstrosity, it is the Crusher.
Just get everything laid out for right now and make sure everything's dialed in and where you want it to go.
Let's get one of these stickers on here and see how it looks. Man, these came out red. Crusher! But still Rush SR. Dude, you guys killed it.
Thanks, sir.
These guys, Redline Design, check them out for all of your decals, wraps, all that craziness. These guys are the masters. You may have noticed there's no body panels on the back of the car. Well, that's because with the supercharger and all that jazz, none of the old stuff fits, so we have to make a new body. Noah and I have spent God knows how many hours making these two molds for the replacement parts for the car. Well, there we go. There's a couple layers of fiberglass. Noah, do you think this thing's gonna come off there easy peasy lemon squeezy?
Sure.
Sure.
Shape, I'm surprised. Even the edges are really good.
There we go. We got our parts out of the mold. A couple of touch-ups to do. These parts are so light. Like the fan right there is about to blow this thing away. That's awesome. This race car just saved a few pounds, huh? I don't want to play anymore. Progress update. We threw that new piece into the parts and now, wow, look at that. We got a race car almost. What do you think, Noah?
She fits.
That's it.
Oh wait, you're actually, oh no, I didn't think you were gonna be turning the camera in.
What you want to talk about?
There's a couple of ripples in the body after, 3 weeks of me sanding it down, but after that, smooth it all out before paint. I think it'll be good.
Noah, how's the bodywork gone on these new parts?
Took a while, but I'm pretty sure we'll get off.
Parts are prepped. We're gonna get them into primer and then we're gonna sand them and get them into paint. What's your favorite part of building cars?
Driving them?
Not sanding them?
Definitely not. I can't feel my fingers anymore.
I was unaware that I had a finger still.
Hey, at least we don't have fingerprints anymore.
That's right. You could totally go rob a bank right now.
Banks don't carry that much money anymore.
You got more money than I do, mostly because of this stupid race car. How much more sanding do you think we gotta do?
I don't know. That.
Just a little more?
The truck back there, a lot.
Sanding is never done. It's never finished. All right, hit it with the blower. All right, I quit. I think I figured out what's wrong with the car. My give busted. All right, wiping parts down. Little wax and grease remover action. Okay, we're not trying to get this thing a car wash here. Calm down.
Usually what I do, make sure I get all of it.
Wiping a car down before you paint it with wax and grease remover is kind of like wiping your butt.
You do it one way, and then it'll go both ways.
There you go. There you go.
Are you front to back or back to front?
Front to back.
I do both. First wipe front to back, second one back to front.
Back to front? You're gonna get shit on your nuts.
Not if you wipe the first time.
Oh my god.
How would you know?
How do you know? Because you wipe it until it bleeds.
No. That was too far.
Back to front. What kind of animal does back to front like this?
It's back to your ass until they bleed.
Alright.
I don't like when that's going.
You clean your asshole like this with your finger, and then you go.
And you said front to back is gross. So back to front, whatever. That's cool.
Clean it till it goes.
I don't support that.
This part looks really clean.
Yeah.
It's bleeding. Let's go. Say something, Noah.
It's time to finish this car finally.
Usually that's when somebody would say like, something, Noah.
Oh, yeah.
You missed your chance for a good blooper. All right, let's sling it. Oh, that feels snug. Toy like a toiga. Buddy, that's tighter than a dolphin's butthole. Watertight.
Nice. That was an image that I didn't want to see.
You could say this isn't real. Guess I'll never know.
Whack it. Feel that button? Feel that button. Buttons are different. Yeah, that did it.
That's the same
No, but now it's flush. Before it had a little detint. So now what you want to do is push really hard and rub all that dirt right into the paint job.
I still think you should do the...
Maybe we should cruise over to Redline and go have them put the... Yeah, let's just drive it over there.
All right, yeah, I'll follow you in the vet.
Street goofing. You ready to go, buddy?
Yes, sir, let's go.
All right, here we go. A little street goofing in our totally street legal Rush SR.
He really just sprayed me with the most rocks I've ever seen in my life. Great.
We got a little street goofing, and now we're in for the final piece, the piece de la resistance. What'd you cook up for us, buddy? Colin, man, way to go! Look at that thing.
Oh, tickle the drawing.
What does that say? Welcome to my party. That's what I'm talking about. Woo, man!
Nothing says I'm here to party like a green tuxedo.
You are damn correct, sir. That's perfect. Look, I mean, they nailed it. It's like this car was meant to be class out the ass. I dig it, man. Thank you guys, as always. Thanks for killing it. Redline Design. These guys do amazing decals. They do wraps on cars. They do all kinds of amazing things to make your vehicles look cool, as you can see right here. And with that, that is a wrap. And finally, the car is done. It's time to take this thing to the track and start racing. Time to start crushing souls with this 300 horsepower supercharged motor. It's party time. And because you know me, dun dun dun, tacos. Well, buddy, how'd the street goofing go?
Good enough for tacos.
Damn right.
I'm excited.
See you guys at the racetrack.